Here are the top 3 things to know about Saturn in the 5th house. Hey, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. You may know that each planet is in a sign, but did you know each planet is also in a house? In astrology, there are 12 houses, and a lot of times it's more important to consider the house rather than the sign. An astrologer reads a natal chart to learn about an individual's personality or path in life. Your natal chart is basically a snapshot of the position of the planets on the exact day, time, and location you were born. Your natal chart shows the positions of the planets and positions of the houses. Think of the planets as the actors. Think of the signs as the roles the actor plays. And think of the houses as the circumstances the actors find themselves in. And you can also think of the planet as the energy and the house as the subject. This video is all about the planet Saturn in the 5th house. The 5th house has energy that is similar to Leo. It's important to remember that there are many layers to consider. The house a planet is in is one layer, but then the sign the planet is in is another layer. Then other planets are in other signs, and then many other things to consider. The 5th house is all about passion, creativity, and self-expression. Saturn is all about discipline, responsibility, restrictions, limitations, structure, perseverance, endurance, maturity, wisdom, hard work, justice, ambition, karmic lessons, and a father figure. Saturn is a hardworking planet that can sometimes put a restriction on our fun. But Saturn isn't all doom and gloom. Saturn is actually helping us. Saturn shows us where we're experiencing limitations. You'll likely find yourself restricted on each of the following: your passion, your creativity, playfulness, what you do for fun, celebrations, interactions with children, your childlike spirit, your stage presence, fertility, fashion and style choices, romantic life, dating, sensual and sexual exploration, leadership style, and a need for validation and praise. Your Saturn placement in your chart is very important because this is the biggest obstacle you need to overcome. Saturn shows you where you will visit your lessons over and over again. Saturn shows you where you're being restricted, and often it's something you really, really want. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, and you're going to have to work really hard. Saturn shows you what fears you have brought with you into this lifetime, and these are the karmic lessons that you need to learn. Where you have Saturn is where you experience loss. This is where you are wounded, and this is where you are restricted. Saturn shows you the area of your life where you need to gain maturity and wisdom. This Saturn placement shows you where you will fail a lot, but you will gain mastery and you will eventually be really successful. Okay, so here are the top 3 things you need to know about Saturn placed in the 5th house. Okay, number 1, there's a restriction on your pleasure and happiness. The 5th house is known as a house of pleasure because the 5th house revolves around how you enjoy life. If you have Saturn in the 5th house, your pleasure and happiness have been taken away from you. With Saturn here, there's a restriction on your fun, so you're probably not going to go out to a club and dance and perform. You may feel like it's more important to stay home and do something more constructive, like reading or listening to a podcast. Saturn is a planet that's all about maturity. Do you have Saturn in the 5th house and think it's pointless to be silly and goof off? Let me know in the comments. Okay, number 2, there's a restriction on your creativity. The 5th house rules creativity and self-expression, and Saturn shows you what your weakness is. Are you afraid to be creative? Do you hesitate to express yourself fully? Saturn in the 5th house is the great rock star that never got on stage. It's the piano player that never sat down to play. If you have Saturn in the 5th house, you likely aren't allowing yourself to be creative. You likely have many talents, but struggle to express them. Where you have Saturn is also where you have self-sabotaging tendencies. You likely suppress your creativity, and this is what you need to overcome. As a 5th house Saturn, what can really help you is to create something and put it in the form. Do you have Saturn in the 5th house and are afraid to be creative? Would you like to be more creative, but you get frustrated and you don't know what to do? Let me know in the comments. Okay, number 3, restriction on romance. This Saturn placement can actually be positive because it can make you loyal. Romance may be very difficult for you because you're just so serious, and you may feel guilty about having fun. Or you may not think having fun is really that important. Dating can be hard because you're a serious person. You're not a fun person, you're just really serious. And you may struggle to be romantic because you're serious all the time and you can't just relax and have fun. You may feel that you've lost your faith in romance, and so therefore you may not have very many romantic relationships. Is romance difficult for you? Let me know in the comments. Now, Saturn in the 5th house is just one layer. There are many other things to consider. Which house and sign Saturn is in, where Capricorn is in your chart, what sign is ruling your 10th house, and what planet you have there, and what aspects are made to your Saturn. If you found this video to be helpful, please let me know in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video.